When is the Toronto housing market, specifically the detached, ever going to slow down? Plus, we finally see the numbers for condos finally come down. What does all of this mean? I'll explain it to you in this month's Market Watch. Stay tuned. Good day, Toronto. Welcome to another episode of Prime Properties TV. So glad you could join me here today. Every week on Prime Properties TV, we take a closer look at the Toronto real estate topics and updates that matter the most to you. And in this episode, I'm going to explain to you what exactly do the Toronto real estate stats that just came out and what they mean. Are we going to see a slowdown in the detaches? Are the condos finally starting to feel some more hurt? If you like these topics, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe to the Prime Properties channel for more awesome real estate content just like this. The button will be somewhere over here. Now, the underlying question I want to pose to you in this week's episode is, will prices for detaches slow down? Do you think the prices of detaches will slow down in next year in 2021? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Also, keep this question I just asked you in mind as I break down this month's numbers for you. So here they are. You've probably already seen them so far. Sales are up 24%, blah, 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 blah. Prices are up 13%, blah, 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 blah. Yes, those are a lot of the surface level numbers that a lot of people are talking about, but that's only when you compare them year over year. And it's not what we can take verbatim and exactly what we want you to deduct out of it. But when we break it down, these are the things, this is what the things tell me. This is the first month since April where we saw a price decrease month over month. The average price from last month is down 1.31% from October, and we're no longer going to push through the winter months with an increase. I was totally wrong about that. I thought there would be enough momentum seeing the last few months to see that we'll have a month over month increase all the way through into the winter. But allow me to explain why I thought that. If you look at the chart I have over on the right, you can see that most of the time when we go from October to November, there is a price drop. The price drop we had this time was 1.31%, which is right about the average. The last time we saw a price increase from October to November was when things were getting crazy in early 2017. So this reflected in the November 2016 numbers to see that we had a month over month increase. Now, this is normally what we're accustomed to, having a price drop, but I thought we were able to plow through it. Although our months of inventory number for both October and November this year in 2020 were higher than last one in 2019, when we look at each segment of the market, like breaking down to the micro market, the prices are actually still up. You can see that detached prices are still moving along by that tiny little bit, where 4 and 6 is up, 0.5% almost, and the 905 is literally up a smidgen of 0.04%. So literally the $1 million question is, are detaches going to slow down anytime soon? I think it will, because now we're back on track with the seasonal changes in the market, which we just saw based on the month over month numbers I just showed you. We're going to see a price drop in December before the market stagnates in January, and then in February, we're going to see a roaring comeback. Yeah, you may not want to hear it, but I've been doing this long enough that I see the same trends year over year, and we're on track without any more crazy surprises. Pandemic. This has nothing to do with the vaccine, although if it comes into play, I do expect February to be even crazier if that is a factor. So if you have a look at these numbers over here, you can see that January tends to be about the same in December, but when February kicks in and we get the numbers towards the end of the month, it starts the spring market pricing all over again. And the psychology to why this happens is that people always start big things in the new year and they are starting to find a new home, which is one of them. And the sellers don't start listing homes until late March, which is around after March break. So there's very little listings on the market. So when the winter time, there's still buyers looking around, but there's not many things to buy. So there's going to be a little window between now and say February to buy something before prices kick up. Good news, bad news? Up to you. Now, on the other front, we're looking at condos, and officially, year over year, prices finally came down. This means that for the first time this year, when comparing prices to last year, the average price is lower than last year. Now, I knew this was going to happen because in 2019, November, the condos went for a hyper run starting then that went up almost 10% in 3 months, starting around November, right? And when you compare high numbers like last year to slumping numbers like we're seeing right now, it clearly looks bad. On top of that, when you look at the month over month number, we're also slumping about 4.1% from October to November. Although prices have now reverted back to September 2019 pricing, the amount of transactions is actually higher this year in 2020 than it was last year. Last year we got about 1368, and this year we got 1375, 7 higher, a smidgen. The reason prices are down this year is because the amount of inventory we have. Last year we had about 1,700 listings, which meant more sales than we had listings, which put the months of inventory number under 1. Whereas this year we had 5,000 listings, which is double, so that you can tell there's no competition for the buyers, which means the difference of months of inventory is 0.89 to 3.64, which is huge, absolutely huge. So when you look at this, it's not as dead as what people think. Transactions are still happening. It's just buyers are not in that hurry, here's my money, no conditions kind of market anymore. We're probably going to continue seeing this trend until March 2021 before things, kind of maybe stop sloping down or maybe stabilize. The reason for this is when the numbers for March 2021, so like in the future tense in like a few months, come out, it will be comparing it to March 2020 numbers when we got hit by the pandemic, where prices stagnated, transactions totally froze. So when we compare those numbers, it's 100% going to look better in a few months comparing it to, like almost 9 months ago, especially if there's going to be a vaccine that could change the psychology of the buyer in regards to like how they view condos. So until then, we'll probably continue seeing the condo market slump for the time being, so just hang in there if you're a condo investor. Overall, when kind of comparing last year's numbers to this year's numbers, like the transactions, we're up 24%, going from 7,000 to like 8,700, which is super substantial. However, keep in mind we have a lot of inventory in the condo space, so we actually got more listings in this year November than we got last year. It was very, very active, and when you kind of compare the months of inventory between this year and last year, we're at 1.22 versus right now we're at 1.57, which is still relatively low speaking. But if you remove the extra condo listings, assuming that we weren't going to have, when you compare it, that's like taking 3,000 listings out, it really puts our November 2020 month of inventory about 1.14, which is super, super low. And of course, this is a hypothetical situation I'm explaining to you, but I want to go through this exercise with you so that you can understand how hot the freehold market is right now. If we see this trend and continues to follow along, we should probably see no listings in December, which is normal. And if demand continues at our pace, the months of inventory should reduce, which means that there's less things to buy, which means that it's going to constrict the amount of supply, which means there's going to be more demand, which means prices come up, which is why February is going to be a month where we're going to see prices go up, like I said earlier, right? I've talked about this a lot before. February prices, we see a big spike jump because people start looking in January, but there ain't nothing to buy. And when there's nothing to buy, demand increases, which causes bidding wars, which causes price to increase. We saw this last year for the condos, and the condo prices spiked $50,000 in 1 month roughly. And I think we can probably be seeing this in the coming months, specifically for detached homes, maybe even semis and towns. Of course, this is my so-called prediction, may be impacted by vaccine rollout announcements and like any other industry out there, but if there is one, it's probably gonna be positive for real estate anyways. So that's it. My one final thing for you is the rental market side. It's still moving if you're in the downtown core. The year to date, we've had actually more lease transactions than last year. However, just like the resale condo side, there's just more supply, so you got to be more competitive on your pricing, and I've said it before in other videos. Now, rentals at the 905, we're seeing multiple offers right now. I even have some of my clients' properties out there right now, and we're pushing the boundaries in winter, and we're getting offers. Hopefully, that was a good update for you, depending on which perspective you're coming at this. I don't think we're going to see anything overly substantial in December as usual, but if you're looking to make a move in the real estate market and take advantage of the slower months, or you want to just get ready for 2021, you can book a strategy call with me. And the best way to do that is with the link on the screen, which is www.chatwithzen.com. It'll be somewhere here for you guys, just jot down. Also, make sure you subscribe to the Prime Property channel, as I have my annual end of the year recap and my top 7 crazy things we may see in the Toronto Real Estate 2021 prediction episode coming up in the next few weeks. You don't want to miss those. It's good. Until next time. See you later. Now that you're done watching this one, how about this one? Oh, you know what? This one's good too. Ooh, this one's really good. You know what? Just watch them both.